NiKo is the best connector player in the world. Now that's probably not a surprise considering how good NiKo is in general, but it's not really his aim that makes him so good at this position. A lot of it actually comes down to his incredible decision making and positioning. So today let's break down how he plays this position and what you can learn from it. One of the first things we need to talk about is spawns and pathing. So this is what most connector players will do every round. Okay, I'm gonna run through CT here, throw a molly A main, and I'm gonna cross stairs to get to connector. And oh no, I've died to the cross A main. The AWPer must have hit a lucky shot, right? No, Timmy, the AWPer did not get lucky. You just made 3 mistakes in a matter of 10 seconds. So let's explain them. Firstly, your spawn is really bad. You only ever really want to cross the A site if you have a pretty good spawn for A. Otherwise, going connector through jungle is actually a lot better. Secondly, your molly also sucks. You need to make sure you throw your molly aiming at this spot on the building, and then while coming out CT, running left click throw it. Then when you are crossing stairs, it's generally much better to jump on this cross to make the shot for the AWPer much harder. This is how you actually want to cross A site, and we can see how NiKo does it here. He has a pretty good spawn for A site, throws the best molly, and crosses with a jump, and we can see from James' POV here that he literally cannot see NiKo at all. Now, like I've been hinting at, most of the time NiKo actually goes through window to get to top connector instead. Sometimes the AWPer will be starting here as well, in which case you simply want to head straight to top connector while also breaking the ladder vent. This is super important for your short player in the late rounds since it opens up some rotations and positions for them to play. Now from here there are a bunch of different smokes you can use. However, the most common smoke you will be using is this smoke where you just aim to the left under the catwalk fence here and then running through. This is going to land around the bottom left of connector and will extinguish any of the early molotovs the T side will use. This also gives NiKo the option to peek top or bottom connector. You can see how he uses this one way as well on the top right of connector to punish the underpass player later in the round. Two more smokes with some pretty nice one ways are these smokes that land in either the bottom left or the bottom right of connector. Now these smokes also leave a slight gap on the opposite side, which you can use to spot players out. The other player can also use this smoke though, so you have to make sure that you are getting into the position before them so you get the advantage before they do. The last smoke I'll show is just a general smoke where you aim at this pillar on the catwall, and this is a smoke that is actually going to land a little bit deeper and gives you the option to push behind the smoke to get some information. You can see an example of this with NiKo pushing around the smoke into underpass, and eventually he's going to find a double kill at the top of middle. It's important to remember that the connector smoke is just really important in general for denying any of the T-side access into middle, as they can't really progress up short or connector without taking care of this connector smoke. This is why you see the top connector smoke all the time from the T-side, and if you keep replenishing this bottom connector smoke, it's going to make it really hard for the T-side to make progress. Early in the round towards connector, you need to be careful of any players moving up catwalk quickly. To counter this potential play, NiKo likes to throw a flash high above connector and then peek this cat angle, and this is a really easy way to punish any players moving up cat like this, and you can see from these examples that the cat player doesn't really have any way to escape once they are blinded, and they're simply just going to get killed by NiKo here. Now once you run out of smokes and you don't really have any option to play inside connector anymore, in the mid to late rounds NiKo will generally be responsible for both the window and connector position. This is because in the late rounds the AWP is going to be much more impactful around the A site or the B site, where they can get ahead of utility to receive the hits. When you're covering these positions, you have a couple of different options. One of NiKo's favorite positions is this area in jungle, where he can switch between holding the window boost as well as the top of connector. It's important that NiKo covers both of these angles to free up his teammates to hold the sites and focus on that. Something that you can also try, which works out really well, is fighting middle through connector early in the rounds. Usually this is something you would want to coordinate with your team, as you could have some teammates running up short and fighting to really take over mid with you. In this round specifically, the A site player will also flash over mid to help enable this push through connector, and this is a pretty essential flash if you are going to be fighting like this. This leads to G2 completely destroying the mid push, and they like to run this play at least once or twice in a half, and is super effective. When it comes to defending the A site of the map, something that is super important to remember is that you want to make sure you support your A site player before you come through the smokes to fight. If your teammate is playing under balcony, you need to make sure that you flash above this apex position here, and this will blind any players coming out of A main and onto Tetris, and your teammate can even swing with it, which makes it super strong. If your teammate is sitting around the default position, flashing behind him or flashing in front of the default box is going to be just as effective in blinding players moving closer to the default around the sandwich area. And if your teammate is near the CT spawn or triple, simply throwing a flash above or behind them will work just fine as well. You want to support first because your teammate is going to have a much better chance of finding these kills early if you can support them, and this will also delay the push long enough for you to also come in and get some free kills. From here, if there aren't any smokes up at your position, generally you want to try and hold the palace for your teammate. If there are smokes up, however, you can try to move through the jungle smoke to assist your teammate, and something that NiKo likes to do is use his smoke to give himself a bit of a lurk smoke just to get past the default jungle smoke. This gives NiKo a one-way in towards A main and gives him some nice cover from palace as well. You can see in this round just how strong this is as he finds a couple of kills, and JKS is also going to cover him from behind. So that about does it. Thanks for watching, and let me know what other positions you would like us to cover. Peace out.